Welcome back to the Hattie podcast. I have a really exciting guest, my number 5 guest, or my number 5 episode for this year for the Hattie podcast, Eugene, Mr. Eugene, who some of you may or may not know. He has a pretty big presence online, massive on YouTube, big on the IG, very successful Gambaroo method and training app. And he's a father to little Meadow and a partner to the beautiful Katrina. And we've known each other for a really long time. And I'm bouncing between asking you 2 different questions. But the first one I'm going to ask you before I even introduce how we got started is how would you describe your relationship to yourself?
You're just going in deep, hey? You're just like, okay,
Right.
we've got the formalities out. I gave you a nice bit of fluff and now we're just going to... It is trying. It's a big test. It's something where I took it for granted for most of my life. And I'd say only probably the last couple of years I've really started trying to listen to myself, my needs, my wants, my desires, where I'm going in life. Because up until that point, I feel like I didn't have a relationship with myself. I was content, happy, successful by a lot of just random metrics that you can put out there. But I felt like I was just sort of going with whatever was demanded. In business, for sure, in relationships, in life, I was just sort of going with the flow, going with whatever felt right, which sounds like on the surface like a pretty cool way to live. You know, like you're not setting too high expectation, or you're not trying to plan 10 years ahead and living in the future and creating all this anxiety and stress for yourself. You're sort of being present, which is true. But because I never had a relationship with myself, I became the collection of all of these different influences from the outside of parents' expectations, friends' expectations, business expectations, the audience, the algorithms' expectations. So the last couple of years, I've been forcing myself to give myself that space to try to reconnect with myself and say, what do you really want? What do you enjoy? What do you like? What's the thing you're trying to do? What went right over the last 10 years? What have you really enjoyed? What have you not? And what have you kept repeating as patterns for better or worse? But that's the best answer I can give with the relationship because I really haven't been it's still in its infancy, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've had some pretty good chats over the last couple of weeks, asking some really deep questions that I'm going to ask you on today. And I started with that question first because I am so curious about how you would describe your relationship with yourself, whether it be in this current moment or, you know, as you said, who you were 10 years ago, because I met you 13 years ago, 2013. And as you just reminded me, we met on a retreat in Thailand, and it was a business course retreat. That's where I started SMP, and that's where you started your
Semi-private
training.
As a PT.
And Eugene was a bodybuilder. He had long hair that went down to your butt, jacked, full on jacked. And that was your identity at that time. Fast forward a decade or more, you have all these other identities. You have all these other priorities. And so your perception of yourself and what is important to you has changed a lot. And so I would love to know, like, as you sit and compare like who you are now to who you were there, what have been the catalysts for change as you shifted from bodybuilder and PT into, educator, content creator, businessman, father, health expert?
Each one of those identities had slightly different catalysts, I would say. For the most part, though, the big thing was I always look for different models for my behavior. Not so much now. Well, I still do a little bit now, but back then definitely I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm happy to admit that. So I'll look to experts in their fields, in business, in training. That's how like we reconnected again with Australian strength coach Bass, because I was like, I need to learn from the best strength coach in the world. I'll go see Bass and you happen to be there as well. But I would make a lot of my decisions based on the fact that I don't know a lot. So I'll find people who do and I'll follow in their footsteps. I'll get guidance from them and I'll just do the thing. Even if I find it doesn't sit well with me, like they're giving me different advice, like on that business course that we were on, he was doing a lot of hard selling, very aggressive phone sales, like the straight line method pretty much. And it worked. It didn't sit right with me because if you remember, we were selling a product that we hadn't created yet. We were creating it as we went. So he was just like, it's cool, bro. You'll make it up as you go. You'll make the product, sell it first, sell the dreams, and then in the next 12 weeks, you'll figure it out and
You'll
it's fine.
hustle and you'll make it, you'll pull it together.
Right. Which, I can understand that method. I can understand that method because it puts you in the corner where you've then got to fight your way out. And I kind of like that pressure sometimes. But also it's like, you know what? I don't agree with that. But the fact is, I'm 21 years old. What do I know? I will do it. I will give it 6-12 months of commitment and I'll just see it through. And then I can say for sure if I like it or not, or if it's really for me, or if I like who I'm becoming. And that's how I came into a lot of the business stuff that I was doing, or with teaching, educating, doing online coaching as well. It came through seeing what are other people doing and what's being demanded of me. How do I filter and leverage my time better? And who are the models that help to set that up and who are doing it really, really well? And then can I see myself doing that? And that was, a very, very simple process there. But then over time, I started thinking a lot more about the concept of leverage. That's something that I've always just had from probably about 10 years ago or so now. I'm always trying to think about what is the exit strategy for what I'm doing? Not because I don't love it or because I want to get out of it, but because I think it's really smart to be thinking about, in some ways, how are you going to continue to do what you love for the rest of your life? And part of that is having a sound exit strategy that you could pull if you want to, but you often find you never actually want to because you enjoy it. Because it makes you change the way that you perceive a lot of your environment. Like, for example, when I was a personal trainer, I was thinking about my exit strategy. Not because I wanted to leave, I love personal training. But it made me think about it. If I had to leave, what would the next step look like? And what does that then mean from my ability to impact people? Which then became first online coaching to be able to reach more people, but then it became educating to be able to have the downstream effects to thousands of coaches and tens of thousands of their clients and have a bigger impact that way. Now, if I just said, I'm happy being a PT and I'll just keep scaling that, I'll keep upping my prices and become a celebrity trainer, cool. But that wasn't thinking leverage or that wasn't thinking exit strategy.
That's still trading time for money.
Yeah. And that's how things evolved. And then over time, like I think very serendipitously, like it wasn't intentional at the time, but it's given me a lot of freedom now because I built up those foundations for leverage. That's why I tell everyone now when I work with them from like a business perspective, I told them make sure that right now, when you're in your first 5 years of business, you got to work your fucking ass off. There is no discounter. You can't outsource that. You have to do all the things. Okay, I'm still videoing everything. I'm still editing everything. I'm still doing 99% of what people see online of my content and my work. It's me. I'm developing the app. I'm designing things and working with the development team. But if you want to get to a point where you can outsource those things, you need to first do the thing yourself to give you the freedom to be able to outsource it later. But also you should be thinking about that. You should be thinking about when you're doing these things, document, create systems. Make sure you're not just having it all secured up in your head here. Make sure you're setting yourself up to, if you ever wanted to, not that you have to, but so you could pass it on.
Yeah.
And like I said, like I have those systems now, but a lot of the time I still do it myself because I like it.
Yeah.
I love editing. It's satisfying to me. I love filming shit. I just find it really satisfying. Even though I do hire people to do it. I still do it every single day myself because it's fun.
And who do you turn to for feedback?
That hasn't been a very present thing recently. The biggest, well, I shouldn't say that because like the biggest place I go for feedback, the biggest place I go for feedback is my partner, Katrina.
Yeah.
She gets the final say in everything because she'll never admit it, but she's very, very in tune with a very particular taste. She has a very good way of looking at things. And it's not necessarily my taste, but it's a very palatable taste to a lot of people. And she just gets it naturally. She'll see things that I don't see. She's very detail oriented, but she's also able to zoom out and look big picture and say, what is this actually doing? What does this mean? So for content, before I post everything, it ships past her and she gets the approval. And she'll be able to dissect something and pull something that I never saw myself. No matter how obsessive I get over every single detail, she's fantastic at it, which is really, really fortunate having a partner like that. Like, I didn't choose her for that purpose. It just sort of came. I showed her something I was proud of one day, and she was like, "Oh, you thought about this?" I was like, "I have not.
I've just put in so many hours for this."
Yeah, I have not. Let me change that. Let me fix that up. She just has this unique way of looking at things that, I've had a lot of business mentors. I've had a lot of other people in their respective fields for feedback and for advice, and it never really hit. Because I think for a lot of these people, when they have such an extensive, strong background in their field of online coaching or running group sessions with PT or being an online business person or whatever, they know one system exceptionally well, and then they'll try to tell that to me, which isn't necessarily going to fit for me. It's not bad about them. There's nothing wrong. Like, they're great if they find the right fit for their people to work with. But the way that I would work, it wouldn't always gel. And I found myself often being steered in the wrong direction. Because again, my mindset was, I will trust you. I respect what you're doing. I want to learn that system. I will do it. Without ever thinking, what actually fits me? What's going to put me in alignment and make me actually work the best? And it might not be that system. Like, I look at what you do with your coaching. Okay, you've got a big team, a lot of clients, and I'm like, that's freaking awesome. It's so, so cool. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. It works for you. It works for you and Coben. You guys work so well together. It would destroy me. I could probably grow into that. No, I definitely could if I really focused on it. I think you can. I think I could. But I think, would that really be working in alignment with where I'm at now? Probably not. It just wouldn't fit for me. So maybe in the future that might change. But right now, it would be a mistake for me to say, hey, tell me how you do things. Give me the advice. I'll copy that system and build my own business. This wouldn't work.
I mean, in our first kind of year and a half of Flex Method, we adopted someone else's system, and we've come to realize it wasn't the right system for us. And
for sure,
we had to last year pivot, and it was probably, again, it's like you just go all in, right? You go, okay, it's not working. Great other system for other people, but for us, we have to start aligning ourselves with how we want to do things. And it was it was scary and it was a big shift, but we went all in, and it's been the best decision, and we've been able to grow. And the retention has just skyrocketed. Everyone's experiences, mine, Coben's, the clients, everything has improved. But it took the lesson of, I don't want to say failing because it's always learning. And even though you adopted all those people's strategies and you went, steered me in the wrong direction, but you always came back. Like, I think when you know what your vision or your integrity is or how you want to run things, when you can always come back to the center, you're not failing. Like, business, you learn so much in business in the same way you learn so much about your body when you adopt different ways of training and eating and wherever else. So it's like just a series of lessons and experiences.
So I have a question for you then.
Okay.
Because you came into Flex Method already very experienced in coaching world. You've been doing SMP for literally a decade at that point. So you know kind of what works and how you like to run things and operate things. Also, you probably learned through that experience how you don't want to do things as well. So when you started Flex, what made you adopt this other system?
A really good friend of ours was doing the same system. Right. So they had a team of nutritionists and dietitians, and they were working with such a large scale and they were being really successful in that manner. What we came to realize is what we were asking of our coaches to deliver to our clients was beyond what the system was allowing them to. And so what I had with SMP, again, wasn't perfect. There was a lot of parts that I would get frustrated with or I would feel was missing or could have been done better, And a lot of that came down to systems and communication, but even just how the leadership of the top of SMP was, which was, to be honest, falling apart for the last couple of years. And with Flex Method, the beautiful thing is that there's such ownership between Coben and I, and we both have the agreement on what gets done and what moves forward. What we were wanting for our clients and what we want in terms of teaching, in terms of value and integrity, we were pulling from our coaches, but we were butting heads with, how much time they wanted to give us, which was really tricky. And look, they still did a really great job, but from my experience of myself, it was really challenging for me. So I love community. I love working with people. I love, clients or coaches asking me for help. I like to feel needed. I guess that's probably what I notice. I like to feel needed and I like to help people. And I feel a disconnect when there's a lack of communication. And so we had to take all the energy leaks that we were experiencing from the previous team and go, well, how do we fix that? What do we need to do in terms of systems? Even apps, things like apps, how do we get everything together so it's less disjointed? We just took everything, all the black holes, and we're like, how do we fill them up? How do we connect the dots? How do we minimize bottlenecks? And so I took what I liked from SMP. I took what I didn't like from SMP. I took what I was liking from how we started Flex, what we didn't like, and then we go, how do we make this form? And what we have now is pretty much if I combine the last two versions, what we have now, that's how I want it.
That's exciting.
That's exciting.
Do you feel like a lot of people may get to that first point where they hear from a friend something's doing really well, which is what you guys did? You're like, oh, this is a really good system. Did you ever think to critique it? Or were you just like, we'll just follow what is working for somebody else? Because you would kind of know the way you like to run things, and you may have suspected, can this team deliver on my expectations, right?
Well, it was a lot of upskilling.
Yeah.
A lot of, this is how I would do it. This is what we need. And it's trust the process kind of thing as well. And then you get to the point where you go, this process isn't working. Mm-hmm. It's not working. And you can you can ignore something for so long. And I wouldn't say it's ignore. It was more like, can this get better?
Yeah.
Can this get better? It's like a relationship. Can this get better? I'm doing all the things. And then eventually you decide, I've done all the things and I'm hitting my head against the ceiling. There's no floor here. The floor is in another building, right? So we pivoted very hard, very quickly. And even just the weight of that off our shoulders was crazy around going, this is it. This is what we wanted. This was the vision. This feels aligned, right? So it took us, about a year and a half to kind of pivot and create a better system. And I can't say that we failed. This is a part of business.
It is.
And failure and success, they coexist. I love always hearing about, you get people like Alex Hormozy or even you or even Bass, and you talk about the lessons that you've had through business, the mistakes that you made, let's go over here. Oh, no, the path is back there. And you're not failing in any way. You're just collecting lessons, and you always collect what you like and you always collect what you don't like. And I think that's an important piece. We actually learn more from what we don't like or what didn't work versus what is working. Because it kind of you go, that didn't work. We won't do that again. And then what is working, you go, okay, this success, we're going to follow this clue. But again, that also has a lifespan in the same way that the tools that we use to develop ourselves, eventually we've got to upgrade the tool.
Right.
We've got to update the software, right? Internally into the other software that we're dealing with, which is our partners or our families. And so I feel that is we learn so much from business. Business is a really direct reflection of where we're at and also what we believe in. So even things like objection handling, when you and I are doing sales calls, we would believe if we got an objection around money and we had a thing around money, we would believe that objection. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't actually go against it or break it down. We'd say, yeah, I get it. I get it. So we believe, the objections that are within our values. And it's the same thing with business. And something Koba and I always talk about is we will never lose the integrity of how we want to build our business. It doesn't matter we always look at different marketing things and people say this. I'm like, that's not us. I'm not going to say that. And I'm not going to go down that road because that's not what we believe in. So I think there's a really important piece around like integrity in your business and staying true to what is important to you, regardless of like what money signs or what sponsors or what like other things can offer you, because it always comes around.
Do you think that's what enticed you when you first started Flex, like that, to go down that other route that you had to then eventually unpack?
Ask me that question again.
Do you think like when you started Flex, you went to this other system, right? Did you have the alignment knowing what you wanted?
We did. I think, again, we started so small and we had this conversation yesterday around like where we were at in that moment was what we thought we wanted.
Right. Okay.
And then you go and you do the thing and then you go, oh shit, like this isn't actually what we wanted, or it's not fulfilling what we actually need. I think that's the better way of putting it. It wasn't fulfilling what we needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had to package up these last couple of years, like one guiding lesson for you, what's the biggest takeaway you've had from having to go through this and realize it wasn't what you liked? How will you avoid that in the future?
It's a really good question. Oh, how would I avoid that in the future? I actually don't know, because there's a part of me that goes, you got to try it and then you got to decide whether it's the right thing or not.
I don't have an answer for you either. I'm curious because this problem probably won't come up again in the same way because you've found alignment now. You know the business that works, and it will continue to evolve and it will change a little bit. But you're like, this is a thing that's working right now. This is awesome. Whereas the last couple of years, you couldn't say that about your business, right? So you're probably not going to get to that same point again where you have to eject everything. But I'm curious how the lesson may show up again in the future where you're going to be faced with a decision in anything in business and you've got two options. It's like you can trust the friend or someone who's successful doing the thing, or you can think, you know what, this is kind of what I feel is pulling me in the other direction. That's kind of what's going on there, right? You saw friend, shiny object, making a lot of money, big team, successful. I want to do that every day as well. I'll take that system for sure. But you also knew in your heart, oh, this is how we do it at SMP, or this is how I want to do it now. It's a little bit different. It's a bit more niche. It's a bit more detailed. I don't know if the team can support it, but you still tried it, which is fair. It's admirable. Like I would do that too. If you don't know, you don't know. But that's the principle there of like influence from an external factor pulled you away from your probably true thing, which eventually you found as well. But I'm curious how that, because I respect a lot of the way that you make decisions and the way that you filter the world. So I'm really curious how you onboard this lesson now and use it in future decisions, whether with like maybe a new partner, so say you're bringing on another Millie, right?
Yeah.
There might be something where they can bring on a lot of money for you potentially, but you're like, oh, is it really in alignment or not?
Well, that's a big thing. It's like only working with, like, I guess, okay, integrity is the thing that comes to my mind.
Okay.
And working with people who have high integrity and the mission is the same. And it always is honoring, being trustworthy, having radical responsibility, radical self-leadership, and just being like the mission of being very genuine and authentic and caring about others is something that's really important to me. So if we were to take on, like I said, we've got Millie who's amazing and she aligned. When I do calls with her, I'm like, you are finishing my sentence. Like this is it. This is so good. It's hard to find, or it would be hard to find another person that I'm like, if we had a conversation, we would be agreeing on the same thing, or you would be contributing or I would be contributing to what we're sharing in this conversation. That has to be aligned. And I'm a massive fan of just like advocating for women and empowerment and strength and, being like a conscious human being is probably the best way of putting it. So working with conscious people who care, and people who aren't just about what people see, but, how someone is as a person.
So in retrospect now, if you were to go back a year and a half and you had that decision of taking on this team that you did back then, with this lens, would you still have taken them on, do you think?
The people that we worked with are good people.
For sure.
Yeah,
but
they're
the
really
systems
good people.
they were stuck to?
I think if I transfer myself back, it was they handled a lot of the great things, which is they had a team that we knew was successful in what they were doing. But we were asking more of the team.
Right. Okay.
We wanted more. And we didn't know that till we got, feedback, and we kind of oversaw a lot of the things. And we were demanding of the coaches more than what they had done before. So I think that
get that.
And it was just like, as I said, Coben moves fast.
Yeah.
We need a team. We wanted to get started. We were ready to go.
Right.
We didn't sit down and be like, who's going to work for us? Whereas now what we've learned is we've got an extensive onboarding system. There's things that I'm like, can this person answer this question? How does this person speak? Are they using ChatGPT? Do they know what they're talking about? Like, now we've created an amazing onboarding system that we can say, yeah, this person aligns with us. They're well educated. They speak well. They've got great tonality. They have genuine care. They can answer my questions. They're good with exercise video feedback. We now have a system that we can roll out that we can now use when we are onboarding new coaches. So now from that, we've created our own system. Whereas at the time, we didn't have a system. We would just get it done. Like, that done is better than perfect. That's where we started.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Same way I'm starting this episode.
I get that. No, I feel that because, like, I would tell you, like, a lot of the biggest mistakes or business lessons that I've had to make, or training lessons or whatever, it always came from me not being clear on what I really wanted. And sort of like, oh, this sounds cool. Let's jump into that. Like, you see it with training, workouts all the time. People are like, oh, I want to do Pilates now. Oh, I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to try this spin class. I'm going to try this bodybuilding. I'm going to do Hattie's program. And then they drop off after a few weeks not because the system didn't work, but because they didn't know for themselves what they really wanted. And other than that, in business, I've taken so many different directions with the app, with development, with coaching, mentoring, everything that I've done, where just do the thing. Act fast. Act now. Done is better than perfect. Get it going. And not taking 5 minutes to sit and think, what do I really want to do? What do I actually really care about and want? And what's actually like a good move long term? And being able to see that foresight of like, what's going to happen from this? Because otherwise, as you found, you'll spend years paying it back later of having to undo things. It is all a lesson regardless. But I always try now to think about how can I avoid repeating the same things of mistakes? Because it may not be the exact same business mistake, but I'll make the same pattern of I didn't know what I wanted out of a partner. So I kept choosing the wrong partners. I didn't know what I wanted out of business. So I kept choosing wrong businesses that didn't fit for me. I hired coaches. I would do a lot of in-person training. I would do a lot of one-on-one online coaching, even though I didn't enjoy that to that capacity. I was like, I'll do the thing. Don't know what I want. Now I know what I want. Well, what I think I want anyways. It's a bit clearer now. So I can make better decisions based on that. But I know you've probably seen with a lot of clients, yourself in the past, you're not clear on it. So you just go with whatever seems to be the thing. And I think it's a scary conversation, isn't it? To ask yourself, hey, you're in the driver's seat. What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of business do you want to run? How do you want to impact people? Who do you want to work with or just hang out with? And then you can make the decision. I think the scary thing is once you make that decision, you've got to live with it. Yeah. And the consequences, for better or worse. And I think we put a lot more stock in the negative potentials that could come from it, that we just try to choose a safe option of like not committing. I'll just do everything. I'll just try it. Done's better than perfect.
Was it the man who hunts two rabbits catches none?
Catches none. Exactly right.
Jack of all trades, master of none. I love those things. And I feel like just as you were speaking there, Eugene, it reminded me of the 3 Ps. When you're asking, what do I want? How do I create the life I live? Like, actually, the beautiful thing is when we actually stop and give ourselves time, we can, in so many ways, start to create or design that, whether it be the relationship with ourselves, relationship with others, career, what type of life we want to live, like what we deem is the perfect life, which is going to shift and change at all different moments. And I started thinking about the 3 power of the Ps, which is what's your purpose? What are you passionate about? And what gives you power? Right? Where do your powers lie? What are you good at? But also what depowers you? What is like the energy leaks or the mistakes that we make? And you just said, I know what I want now, or it's a little bit more clearer. What is that? What do you want now?
I want to stop chasing because I've spent the last 20 years chasing things, chasing goals with my body, with my physique, with business, with money. And looking back at it, here's an example for business, right? We do really well in business. I could not tell you how much money we make at all. I've got no clue. I can't tell you how much money came out of my bank account. I don't know how much is in there right now whatsoever.
You sound like me.
Right? But then why is it that most days I'm conscious of money? Why am I fearing making a purchase of like something that like camera equipment or a laptop that's going to help me with my work or whatever, or even a set of dumbbells? A couple of weeks ago, I was like, I'm not going to buy these dumbbells. But I was like, I'm so fearful of money, of losing money. But then I was like, well, hang on, it doesn't fit because I clearly don't care that much about it. I've always had to be checking my bank account every single second, you know? So why am I chasing this thing? Or what am I running away from? What am I fearful of? So what do I really want now is to get to a point where I can really uncover what's driving some of those behaviors. Because I know what's driving that behavior is when we were young, when I was a kid, we didn't have much. So I had that lesson instilled in me. I think it's a good lesson. Of course, like be frugal, spend less, don't be wasteful, you know? But without really sitting and thinking about it more, I've let that run my life. And I've let it push me into chasing the wrong thing and making decisions that I wouldn't normally have made that were probably in line with what I really wanted to do, what would actually make me happy. So the first step for me is to get out of my own way and stop chasing the wrong things. Stop chasing, say, the algorithm. Stop chasing more reach. Like you asked me a couple of weeks ago, how did I feel when I hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube? And look, it was cool. It was fun. Like me and Katrina stayed up till midnight watching it click over. I'm like, oh, it's cool, you know? We took a couple of photos, had a little bit of a fun thing. A friend of mine, Bianca, brought over a cake. It was cool, right? But that was never something I was really pursuing. It's like a thing, but it was still just, for some reason, it just sort of like, what's cooler to me is when I sit back and think I'm impacting people positively. But other people just want to chase that number. I want the gold YouTube plaque. I want the 1 million numbers or whatever. I want to just get the engagement no matter what. I was like, when I really think about it, what do I really care about? It's the positive impact. I like getting 10 DMs from people. 10, not 1 million. From 10 people who say, man, that video fucking hit. That changed my life. I'll remember their name. I'll remember who they are. I'll connect with them. I love that. I don't love 1 million subscribers. Right?
Is there pressure?
Pressure to hit the 1 million or?
To stay above or to keep producing content that the audience of 1 million people, that's a lot of people to impress.
For sure. There is a lot of pressure because you second guess everything. You're like, okay, this video I'm going to put out because I know, like you don't get to that point without learning the game. Like I know the game. I'm like, okay, this video I'm going to put out, it's going to be a 5 of 10. Which in YouTube world means it's the 5th best performer out of the last 10 videos, which is mid. I'm usually shooting for a 1 or a 2 of 10. Every single video is better than the last one. It's going to hit more people, reach more people, and just blow up even bigger than last time, right? It's very addictive. So I'll
Sounds
find
like
myself...
my eating disorder.
Yeah. So I'll ask myself, like, this video, I believe it. I love it. It was fun creating. I enjoyed that process. I know it's going to impact people so well. But then the voice in my head is like, but it's a 5 of 10. It's not going to be a 1.
How do you know that? How do you rate it? Who rates it? You do?
YouTube does. Like it says based on the engagement you got in the first. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, now Instagram does it as well. Instagram, Meta have started, and Facebook have started doing that. They give you in your analytics rankings of like this video performed the best out of your last 10 or the worst out of your last 10, and that is the most toxic introduction into algorithms. I mean, YouTube did it first. They've done it since day one. That's why YouTube has had such longevity and will always be around as a platform, because they found a way to get into your head and to make you start competing against yourself in a way that fuels better content in terms of engagement, but not necessarily better content in terms of your mission and what you enjoy doing. Like I said, a lot of content that I would create and I'd be really proud of, really happy with, back in my mind, I know, hey, it doesn't hit the right SEO landmarks to be able to be a 1 of 10. It's not triggering enough. It's not engaging enough. The pacing is not as fast paced. It's not going to pop off in as wide an audience, so it's not going to do as well. So maybe I shouldn't post it. Maybe I should change who I am and how I communicate and how I want to present myself to chase that 1 of 10. The beautiful thing, of course, is when you get to be yourself and do things that you care about and create the content you love, and it is a 1 of 10. That does happen as well. That definitely does happen. And they're the great days where I'm like, that content, I fucking loved it. I was so proud of that. It took me a long time to create, and I'm like, it was aligned. But there are a lot of pieces of content where they're aligned, but I know they're not going to be that one. They're going to be lower performers. Trying to quieten that voice, that's what I want. To have that freedom, to have that strength, to be able to then say, I don't give a fuck if it's going to be a 10 of 10. I'm proud of this, and it's going to hit that one person who needs it, and that's all that matters. But that's kind of like the gift and curse, I say, in my head of knowing this game of social media and the algorithm and how to play to audiences so well, is you then become a puppet for what they want and not for who you really are and what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's a tricky thing to reconcile.
Yeah, because I asked you the other day, like, what is success to you? What do you deem as success? And we talked about, the I asked you, does your view or energy change when you've just created a really great piece and you put it out on social media, whether it be YouTube or Instagram, and you're so pumped about it and then it just doesn't translate? Like, do you then rob yourself of that, or can you stay strong and go, no, I really enjoyed that content. That was great.
So good example, last night, I posted a video.
Yeah.
And so backing up a little bit without going on too deep another tangent, late last year, I invited this 20-year-old kid out to my gym because he's an exceptional athlete. I saw him come up on my Instagram. This is a guy who's 63 kilograms and he'll bench press 200 kilos. Like, absurd.
Shit.
Like, it's just, what the fuck? That is like strength that you just cannot fathom of, like, that's more than triple body weight on a bench press. It's just
Crazy.
absurd. Right? So I was like, I just want to see what you do. I want to learn from this kid. So I brought him out. And the thing that he's actually most well known for is having a 175 kilogram weighted dip, which is fucked. Like, there's no other way to put it. It's just like,
that is strong shoulders.
It's just absurd. Like, there's strong, there's power lifter strong, there's elite power lifter strong, and then there's like, what the hell did I just see? Right? That's what this kid is. And he's 20 years old. Okay, like, he's been training since he was 13. His dad's a power lifter. He's an elite power lifter. Like, he was a national champ at like 17 or so. So like, this is cool. I want to learn from this guy. So I brought him out, and you've been around some very, very, very strong people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you ever saw Alex Simon over at Bass's when he would warm up for deadlifts. It would look kind of weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would just, the way he would just throttle the bar and it would just zoom up. You're like, what are you doing with your body? That doesn't look correct. Yeah. I know what technique is. It doesn't look right. But because he's a 400 kilo deadlifter, one plate, it looks like he's fucking just fluffing out his doona.
Just lifting a 2.5 kilo plate with their
right.
hands.
But he's doing it with all that force, right? So it just looks absurd. So anyway, same thing for this kid doing his dips. He does a bodyweight dip. It defies any logic. You're like, I don't know what I just witnessed. This just looks strange. All the way up to he hits 120 kilos on the dip. Every single set from 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, it just looks weird. You're like, what am I looking at? I've got no clue. It's just because it's just so aggressively violent and absurd. Like, it breaks laws of biomechanics essentially. Like, this is strange. But anyway, so I posted it up on social media a couple of days ago because I was like, this is cool. I want to share it with the world. Like, I did a whole big video on YouTube. People liked it. I want to share it with Instagram, get people to watch the long form video with him. And, it did well as an Instagram video. Of course it would, because it's just so weird, right? But of course, it got some negative backlash because people just don't understand what they're witnessing. Mm-hmm. It's like you see the girls doing an eighth range squat, but then actually they're hurdlers or they're high jumpers, so it makes sense. Same thing here. So I posted, I guess, a negative thing. I'm like, it is what it is. I don't mind. I knew it would happen. So I think I'm going to post another video, gives people more context. Right? So I did another video yesterday, giving people just more of an understanding, saying, hey, it looks so strange at a lightweight because he's so strong. And the reason he's so strong is because he's practiced this technique to precision. And he treats his warm-up weights with respect, as if he was doing a 200 kilo press or whatever. So that's how he's able to do that thing. Really cool system there, right? So I posted that. I was really proud of that piece because I think it's a really good lesson. It's not a negative thing. I'm not saying, actually, you guys are all fucking dumb and wrong. I know best. I was like, no, this is actually a cool, useful thing that people are just unaware of. And it's just, I agree, it looks fucking weird when you see him moving some of these lightweights. It just looks dumb. After the video, and it did well. It's done really well. In my head, I'm like, I feel like I could have added more to it. I want to add more nuance. I wanted to add an extra tutorial. I want to add a bit more, another line of text or whatever. I could have done it better.
Yeah.
So I said to Katrina, I was like, man, I feel like it's just not it. I know it's done well. Objectively, I was happy with it 10 minutes ago, but now in retrospect, like, I wanted to do it better. I wanted to explain more and give more and just do more in there. And it did rob me of being able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Even though objectively I can be like, yeah. That's kind of the thing that I tell people, and I got to remind myself of this lesson as well all the time, is that you are never going to be able to create the one video, the one thing, the one call with your client, the one chat with your partner. You're never going to be able to do one big grand gesture that just hits on all levels. But we think we can. In our mind, we're like, oh no, if I just get good enough at doing it, if I am perfect in my delivery, I'll hit everything and they'll understand me. There'll be no miscommunication. That will be it. But by doing that and trying to perfect that, we forget the most important thing, that it's not about the big grand gesture. It's the daily reminders. It's the smaller pieces that you accumulate over 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years of just drumming in those daily habits or actions or behaviors. So for me, what I should be thinking about is like, don't care about that video. It's a good video. If you could say it better, do another video. Do another 10 videos. You'll be saying this video for the rest of your life. Keep fucking doing it. Do 100 more of them. Who gives a shit? You're meant to. And that's how you create content gold. Because you're meant to keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, slightly different ways, because you get better. And that's how you create a brand. Unintentionally. By just believing in your shit and not trying to get it in one and done.
Yeah. I think like authenticity is such a big thing. And I think, the beautiful thing about your lens is, as you said, like there's always things that you can add to it. And you still have a super high achieving part of you that wants to do it the best. And I always love that quote by Bass, and it's, we reach for perfection knowing we're never going to make it. But just the standard of reaching for perfection in the things that we do and the things that we care about means that we are never going to be average at the thing. Even if we can step back and go, I could have done that better. I do that every podcast. I could have done that better. I should have added this into it. Like, that's when you're saying that, I'm like, ugh.
And you will.
That is me.
And you will.
And then the goal is, next time we go and do that thing, can we become more aware of the context or the nuance or the message that we're trying to say, and can we do it that little bit better? And I think the beautiful thing about social media is you've got so many times you can try, but eventually you have to just get it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can also be so debilitating in that paralysis by analysis, in our videos or in the context. Because it is like, it's a short form content. There's only so much you can fit into. And that's the thing that actually really annoys me about short form, which I'm terrible about, is like we miss so much nuance and we miss so much context, and people will take that piece and they'll apply it to them. And it's like, no, but there's this piece up here I didn't talk about, which is probably better that applies to you. But with YouTube, you've got a little bit more opportunity to do that.
But it's still open to the same issues. I've done hour-long YouTube videos on one concept, and it's still not enough. Because people can interpret the way they want to interpret it, for one thing. But also, like, there's better ways to explain things and change things in attention spans as well. But I think one thing that is missing from a lot of people that I've really started to employ that's helped me is feedback loops. So from this video, yes, I'm upset that I could have explained more. Make sure you address that next time. Make sure you take that on board into the next video, the next piece of content. I think a lot of people will just beat themselves up or just not have a feedback system at all and just be like, oh, that did shit. Or, I don't feel good about that. And that's kind of it. But taking that and being able to assess, what's the feedback from this? What can I then change and improve upon for the next video or for the next whatever in my life, and how am I going to employ that? Knowing that as I employ that, it's probably going to feel a little bit unfamiliar. Otherwise, I would have employed it from day one and it wouldn't need feedback. But I think people, I know that I have been in the past afraid of that feedback or just blind to it, not asked for it, not known to look for it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're going to just fall prey to just repeating the same patterns over and over and just wondering why you're doing so much work but falling into the same system of results that you're not enjoying.
People see you as you are now. So people, for those of you listening, if you go to Eugene's either Instagram or your YouTube, they're going to see the millions of followers, right? They're going to see all the content that you've produced now.
Right.
They don't know anything about like how you started or where you started. And that might be super overwhelming because they're going to look at you as you are now and then you'll be like, that's luck. That's because of this. That's because of this. Instead of looking at the decade of repetitions that you have put in for this particular craft, for being a content creator, right? For being an educator, for being a great speaker, for being a businessman. Right. You are very successful in all of those fields. And so what advice could you give to those who are seeing you as you are now, wanting to possibly replicate or be somewhat of their own version of you? What advice could you give to people who are starting out?
I would tell them look for patterns in what I'm doing. Don't look to just copy or think, hey, it's working for him, I'll just do the exact same thing. But look for patterns and try to understand what am I doing really well and what am I not doing well. Because there's a lot that I'm not doing well as well. As much as people think, oh, cool, you got all these followers, you got all this engagement, you got all this business success, you got all these members on your app and whatnot. Fantastic. Zoom out from that because that's all smoke and mirrors. Not that it's fake and it's not there, but it's that's all a distraction. The reason why I can do all those things is because of deeper patterns that I practice every single day. And the reason why I'm not bigger, why I'm not 10xing what I currently do is because I'm not doing certain patterns. And I think for anyone trying to improve in their life, the one skill that you should be trying to improve more than anything else is pattern recognition. Being able to look at what you do every single day and be like, okay, what are her strengths? What is Hattie doing exceptionally well? What does she suck at? Not to be emotional about it and not get swayed by the personality or the beauty or the physique and think, what is it actually that you do really, really well as a pattern? So for example, one thing that I admire about you that I think is a really, really good pattern that you're so in tune with is being able to speak freely, being able to put yourself out there on social media, on your stories, talk to your community, connect with people. That's not fake. That's how you are as a person. I see that's how you interact with all the people in your life. You're just this welcoming person. Now, you're welcome. I think it's a trait people just overlook. Think, oh, it's just her personality. That's just, oh, she's bubbly. Oh, she's she's blonde. Oh, she's a fun-loving girl. Cool. She loves to party. She loves having fun. That's kind of it. But I was like, what's the real pattern underlying that? And then how has that led to some of your success? How might that be holding you back from certain things as well? Okay, for better or worse. And then you can start to say, what lessons do I want to take from that pattern into my own life? So, for example, I can tell you from a social media hygiene algorithm perspective, you post way too many stories.
Me?
You do. You post way too many stories and it kills your reach, kills your engagement, kills your ability to convert as optimally. And some of your content as well, the actual feed posts you do, they could go through a little bit more of a higher scrutiny, higher filter, be like, is that really worth going out there to people? There's a lot of layers there. Now, I wouldn't necessarily want to change that about you either though. Because if I said to you, Hattie, the algorithmically optimal time for you to post on your stories is just once every 24 hours, you could do it and you'll get some success from that. You'll get some conversions, you'll get some more leads, you'll get better reach. You'll see your story views probably 10x. And if you went to maybe 2 or 3 very strategic story posts, you might go to something like holding that same 2-3x story views and keep the engagement, keep the conversion, happy days. But then what would you lose by doing that? You're losing a part of you that is you love sharing community. You love sharing your thoughts each day. You love just having a yap with your people. You know, you love doing that. So even though, yes, the algorithm says this, and I can look at other creators who are following that system and that's the pattern that works for them, I can be like, oh, that's how you make money and get conversions. Then I look at your pattern, which is completely different. I say, well, which one really fits for me? How do I want to live my life? Right? So when I see a beginner, someone comes to me and says, Eugene, teach me how to run my business. Teach me what to do. I say, I will not teach you that. I can show you what I do and I will teach you the principles behind why I do what I do. And then you make your own decision. I like scripting content. I don't do it all the time, but I like scripting things. I'm good at it. And because I'm good at it and because I can do it with a quick turnaround time, like I'm good on camera with a script, a lot of people aren't, I can have success with that. I don't want people to do that. I don't want to teach that to people because that can help them lose their voice, lose their authenticity, and stop being able to create as much. You know, I had a creator, he came into my mentorship a while ago and I got him for his first YouTube video, something like 500,000 views in a couple of days. That's fucked for a long form YouTube video. But it took him about 2 months to create it. Now, of course, he's going to get better. He's going to do so much better and he's excited to get better at it as well. He's like, fuck yeah, like this is awesome.
There's a high standard to live up to after that one.
Right? It creates pressure. So it's like, I'm very proud of him for doing that. I'm so grateful that I can impart that onto him. But I also have made sure to tell him, look for the pattern and make sure like you've tried this, keep trying that flavor, keep pushing it, keep sending it and just keep getting better at that craft. But also keep asking yourself, is this the stuff that I love doing? Does it work in alignment with me? Or is this what's worked for Eugene? And Eugene can turn around a video in a week instead of a month.
Yeah.
Because he's skilled at it and because he loves that process and it's natural to him. Versus me where I can get better, but do I want to get better? Am I pulled elsewhere in life? So I say for you, like, yeah, algorithmically, post less on your stories. But as a person, as a leader, as an advocate for women's health who wants to have the impact that you have, keep doing exactly what you're doing. Keep doing it. Don't get fazed by the potential of the algorithm giving you a boost and reaching more people. It's like, it's not worth it for you. It's not worth it. If you 10x your reach anyway, it's probably not going to 10x your business. It might kill it, right? I think it's cool. Tori here, she's got, you know, this tight-knit community where she doesn't get the views that I get. She doesn't get the impressions that I get, but she'd be getting the conversions. Maybe not the exact same scale just because of the sheer volume, but she's got the connection and she has the same conversion rates, I'm sure, if not better than what I get because of connection to the community. The content they talk about, the way they talk to the people. It's like, do you want to lose that?
That's her sis, you know,
Yeah,
that's my girl.
Exactly. So she shouldn't look at me and be like, wow, you got 1 million this, you got 2 million there, you got all this engagement, you got all this business. I'll do what you do. Big mistake.
Yeah, I think a big part, especially like anything you do, it's like career. It's like, while there's going to be challenging times with career, if you do what you love, you find ways to find joy in the challenge.
Right.
But it's easy to like lose yourself. And that's a conversation I have with Coben all the time. It's like, I know that short form performs, but I don't enjoy doing that. So do I do content that I enjoy doing versus content that the algorithm likes? I'm like, I'm always going to do what I enjoy doing. And with enough repetition and with enough trust and relationship that I build with the people that listen to my stories, because there are people that hang around for my 5-minute storytelling time.
I love them. That's me.
And they're the people that go, I trust you.
Absolutely.
I'm going to fail forward with you. And that's what I had women that have circled around me for a decade. And I finally said, you've been asking me the same question in 5 different ways for the last 10 years. And I've given you the same answer in a slightly different version. What is it going to take for you to take action? Because we've been here for 5 years or 10 years. And eventually they took action and it was, you know, and they were like, I never felt ready. But that compare and contrast was like, oh shit, I am doing that.
Right.
And you were the person that always responded to me.
Yeah.
You were the person that always spoke to me. That was it. And I didn't do anything special. And so I guess that's that part that's like, you know, it is. It's, you know, when I enjoy talking about something, I enjoy talking about something. And I've become very passionate about it.
And people sense it, you know, they feel that authenticity. And I think it's something to be said as well that it's impossible to be able to look far ahead or to be able to see all the potential outcomes to the actions that you do. And like perfect example there is a client will sign up after 10 years of watching your content, right? And they've seen all your stuff, all your lessons for 5-10 years, and it finally hit. You don't know when they're going to sign up. You don't know. And that could have just been a client, but for all intents and purposes, that could have been a very pivotal client in your life, in your business. That could have been someone from a partnership perspective or just from, you never know, like the butterfly effect of these things. So instead of trying to always optimize and think ahead about like gamifying things and optimizing for business, optimize for yourself, optimize for what's true to you. So yes, there's algorithmically short form content does well, but you know what? I know you see it as well. There are so many carousels, there are so many text-based pieces of content that get millions of impressions and views and that have got millions of followers, millions of engaged customers as well, because the algorithm isn't some secret masterful thing that's being played with. It is humans. It is the audience. Replace algorithm with audience, you understand what the algorithm actually is and you realize people have different tastes.
Yeah.
Some people love the brain rot TikTok, Like I love a good brain rot just swipe. I just love doing that shit for sure. But I'm never going to buy from you anyway and I'm not going to engage with certain things. Some people love simple text. They just love to read. And there are so many people like that out there. So it's like stay true to yourself. Don't bend your content into an algorithm. You can definitely improve your content and say, how can I fit the same message into a way that I like?
How can I improve my storytelling?
Right, exactly. How can I improve my pacing? Maybe I should cut this line. Maybe I should, make this a bit prettier visually so it's more appealing to people to actually want to read it. Cool. They're cool things you can work on. But the thing that I see some people doing is they think everything's got to be a talking head now. Because everyone's real maxing. Everyone's all about TikToks and short form. It's like, well, no, some of the best content that I love and that I see doing better than my content is text. It's literally text. It's swiping across 5 carousel slides to read someone's text.
Yeah, easy and digestible.
Exactly. And that's why it works. And it works for them in that way. I don't like doing that content myself, but it definitely is something I love consuming. And it works for people. So it's like, don't bend. Look for patterns and understand what's really going on.
I like that feedback. I think pattern recognition, and I can't remember who else talked about there. I don't know if it was on the Chris Williams podcast or something with Andrew Huberman. That was what he talks about. He's like, if you can recognize patterns, you are doing yourself a huge, or maybe it was even Tony Robbins, you're doing yourself a huge service. Actually, I think it was Tony Robbins. Now, I want to touch on a conversation that we had yesterday, and it was around our own internal, I guess, our toxic traits, right? A toxic trait of mine is not good enough. It is, I say it's a toxic trait because you talked about it helping me be successful, which it has. But it has also been a ceiling for me. And I'm curious to know for yourself, what is your toxic trait? What is something that keeps you feeling empowered, or what are your powers and what depowers you?
Well, back up for a sec. Why do you think that's keeping you at a ceiling? What's the ceiling? I'm curious about that. I will answer, but I was like, oh, it's a ceiling.
Because as an example, I have not been consistent with things like seminars and speaking events and my podcast because I told myself I'm not good enough. Who would want to listen to me? I'm not good enough. And I still have that like every time I do an episode. But I hear it and I still do the thing, but it's taken me 5 years to really action it. Whereas in spaces and places I'm familiar with, like I have used not good enough in competing, but I've also used I'm a champion.
What if you weren't a champion?
What if I wasn't a champion? I mean, before I was a champion, I told myself I was a champion. I embodied what I thought a champion would be, which is I show up to my process the best version of myself that I can. So before I was a champion in 2016, I asked myself, what does the greatest version of me look like? How does she show up as an athlete? Right. And I modeled that in my nutrition, my training, outperforming myself before I was even a champion. But when I became the champion, funny enough, I told myself, was I really good enough? Was I really the best? Yet if I looked at all the evidence about myself and how I entered into that competition, I did everything I said I would do. Yet when I became it, I told myself was I really good enough? The question became like, was I really good enough? Was that just luck?
But you did it several times over to just
But
make sure it wasn't luck.
Well, that's what's interesting is like I don't really use not good enough in competing anymore, but it was a driving force. But I tend to use not good enough in other areas of my life that I haven't had as much success in. I'm still collecting evidence.
Yeah, so if I may offer some insight here.
Please do.
Not that I think it's worth a ton, so keep that in mind. But when you told me that, I'm hearing two very different operating systems. Okay, you think you use I'm not good enough when it comes to this kind of stuff on camera, right? Or podcast speaking engagements. And you think I used that same thing when I was competing. Although I'm not good enough. That's why I kept pushing. You didn't. You used two very completely different operating systems. When you were not a world champion, you said to yourself, what does a world champion do?
Embody. Yeah.
What do they embody? I will do that thing. You haven't asked yourself, or I'm sure you have now, but your default wasn't, what does a world champion public speaker do? What does a world champion podcaster do? How do I embody that? You're just saying, I'm not good enough. I've got to get more reps in. No, you don't. You've got to have the model of what does a world champion do and do the thing. That's literally it. Because that's what you did for bodybuilding. You're like, what does a world champion do? I will do the thing. And then maybe luck, maybe skill, maybe timing, maybe whatever, it happened. Okay? I don't think you had the conversation yet of what does the world's best public speaker do? What does the world's best women's health expert do? What does the world's best podcaster do? And then do the thing. Because once you have that model, you can unpack all the daily actions, just like you did for bodybuilding. The bodybuilders show up for workouts. They send it every workout, no matter how tired they are. They follow their macros to a T. They don't fuck up whatsoever. They're dialed in.
Organized, precise.
Right. And you did it because that's what you were embodying. But if you don't have that model of what you're meant to embody for podcast, speaking, relationship, or whatever, then you're fucked. Because then that voice will creep in. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. And even these reps you're doing now, they won't count as much as they could. Yes, they're still reps, it's still practice, it's familiarity on camera. But if you don't have something you're striving towards as like the thing and the action, then they're pointless reps, they're junk volume in my eyes.
That's a really nice way of putting it.
Because we're lifters, of course. It's all reps and sets.
I mean, we were talking about systems yesterday. It's like, organization systems, we applied that when we were bodybuilding. It's like, how do you apply that in business? And
exactly.
I ask myself two things often, Eugene, and the one is, it's not an ask, but I'll say, if only I was as consistent in this area of my life as I was with bodybuilding, I'd be really successful because I know those systems led me to be successful. But the perspective I've been practicing lately is instead of telling myself I'm not good at this, asking myself or leaning into, well, how would it be if I enjoyed it? Like, what about that perspective? Like, what if I actually told myself I enjoyed it? Like, what about that piece? Again, instead of asking, what if I fail? What if I'm successful? Like the shift in like the questions and the quality of the questions and leaning into, instead of telling myself I'm not good enough and all those things, is, as you said so beautifully, well, what would a world champion speaker or a podcaster do? And then that's the seed. That's the core. And then you, as you said, you work back and you go, well, how do I make that work?
Exactly. And that won't always be clear from day one because you won't know exactly what the world-class person does. But that's why, again, you've got great networks, people to ask, or just go to more events and see like, what are they doing, and try to, again, pattern recognize what is that really exceptional speaker doing when they're on stage? How are they pausing? How are they using the stage? How are they using their voice project? How are they using their hands? How are they just articulating with their face? How do they get people engaged? And then recognize that. But yeah, a lot of I see there, call me sorry for being blunt, but I see two very different operating systems in the way that you talk to yourself, which I'll surprise at. Because yes, you know how to be successful in bodybuilding. A lot of people do. And they think, oh, I'm so disciplined in this one thing. Of course it'll apply elsewhere. But it doesn't. It doesn't, because often what you'll find is what was driving that bodybuilding success wasn't always something that it's not what you know how to apply to other aspects of life. Because with bodybuilding, for example, and this is something that was for me when I was bodybuilding, it was driven by a lot of hate when I first got into it. It was driven by a lot of insecurity. It wasn't by the end, I loved it. But definitely when I first started, it was very much hate. And it was just, I'm just going to abuse my body and take it to that point and just do the fucking thing because that's what winners do. right? I used to drive over to the gym. It would be a 40-minute drive. I had always motivational speakers playing, like from different movie scenes or different motivational speaking things. Like, it was just like, fucking go, fucking do the thing, do the work, hustle hard, kill yourself, push hard. And you try to apply that in a long game like business, or you try to apply that discipline to a relationship, you're going to have one fucking toxic relationship. Right. It's like, yeah, you're disciplined. Yeah, got an exceptional result in the gym. That was lucky that you managed to do that. But when I really thrived with bodybuilding was when I took a step back and I realized this is something that I want to do because it's a fun experiment for me to explore the potential of my body. How rewarding is it to be able to take myself to a point that I didn't know was possible in the gym on that rep? How rewarding is it to be able to just check off that box on my logbook of like, I beat that after seeing it being hit with a wall for 6 months straight? How rewarding is that? How fulfilling is that? And being able to document that and share that with other people and impact their lives for the better and pass on those lessons. That's fucking cool. That's what drove me at the end of my bodybuilding career. And that's what pulled me out of bodybuilding, because I was like, how do I get more of this? It's not from bodybuilding anymore. It's from going on the road and teaching. It's from sharing this message and taking content more seriously so I can put this out in a more public way, in a more aggressive way, not aggressive personality, but just like get it out there with more volume and more impact. That's what pushed me. But yeah, I think people get deluded thinking, and I got deluded too, thinking I've got these skills of discipline from bodybuilding that'll pay off in business or other aspects. It doesn't. They can be two very different operating systems. Instead, what does the number one speaker do? I hope that helps you.
I mean, I'm loving this conversation. I appreciate the holding a mirror and it's like, hold on. This is what I'm hearing. Because obviously I'm very familiar with my voices, but when I speak it out loud, it's like, hold on, I'm actually hearing something slightly different, which I really appreciate. And just on what you shared around, the qualities that we use in bodybuilding don't always translate into every area. And actually it's important to have multiple skills and tools so that we can use them in the different identities or areas of our life that we want to flourish in. And, moving from a bodybuilder or out of bodybuilding into, essentially going all in on your business. Like you went around the world for a couple of years educating. You left a relationship at home, and obviously you named like there was shifts and changes in that. How much do you owe a lot of your growth to making that decision to travel around and really kind of leave bodybuilding and transition into being more of a business and educator?
From a pure objective fact logic perspective, so much of it. Because one thing, Australia, it's small. It's small. When you go to the States, there's so many more opportunities, so many more people, so much more going on over there. Even in the UK, Asia, the world is huge. Australia is small. If you're staying in here from a business perspective, you're going to be limited in your reach. Doesn't mean that you can't be successful. I mean, you look at a guy, Adam Sullivan. I'm sure, I don't know his analytics, but I'm sure he's got 90% Australian audience. I can tell that because I see the way that he's penetrated the Australian market. But I know that he wouldn't have a big US audience. Doesn't matter to him though. He's laughing, he's happy. It's it's great. There's many ways to, to cook a fish. And he's done well in that way. But for me, with the mission that I was on, definitely traveling and going on the road and committing myself to being in as many cities around the world as I can and just impacting those people, that's driven the most, because it's given me the global audience and given me a deep connection. Because I was strategic. I was like, I'm going to do these events to impact. I could get more people on if I appeal to the Gen Pop. But I said, I'm going to appeal to coaches specifically. It's going to be a harder sell, a higher ticket sell, but I know the impact I'll have will be deep and lasting. Because if I am able to impact the leaders, if I'm able to impact the Hatties over in Denmark, or if I'm able to impact the Sebastian Orbs over in fucking Italy, in Rome, that's going to last for several years, decades. That's going to leave a legacy of okay, you had an impact in that industry because of how impactful those people are in that industry, in that culture. Effect. Yeah. So being able to really just go all in on that for a few years and focus on that helped so much. It did change the direction where business went because of the audience that you create. Had I stayed local, had I done more coaching, had I done maybe like your model and kept that online, tight-knit, Australian, I could have been successful still. I've no doubt about it. It would look different. Not right or wrong. It's just different. And it's just like, I at the time really enjoyed the idea of being able to see the world and travel. And I like the excitement of it. I like just meeting new people in that aspect. So that kind of worked for me. I wouldn't necessarily recommend to everyone else though. It's a tough way to live your life.
It is. How did you get into Gambaroo? Because that's a platform, it's an app, and it houses many different programs, which I think is really cool because you have you haven't just got, it's not just bodybuilding. It's got, there's pre and postnatal now with Sheridan Sky, and then you've got like functional and is there sprinting? Like there's
sprinting, everything.
There's everything.
Mobility.
Yeah. So there's a platform with so many different modalities that people can go and explore. What made you venture into that to be something that you wanted to create?
Short answer and a long answer. Short answer is demand. And it evolved over time. So it first started in 2016. People were asking me for my workshops. Like, Eugene, we can't go to your workshop. I'm over in Bahrain. I don't even know where Bahrain is. Somewhere there. And I want to learn from your workshops that I can't go. Like, cool. I will host it online. So there's a website and like a membership website to just be able to share all of my teachings. And then it evolved because people were like, I love what you're teaching, but now I want to see it implemented. I want the thing done. So like, cool, I guess that's an app where there are going to be programs housed. And it was all just my programs. Over time, that evolved because people were saying, hey, Eugene, I want to learn about mobility. And I was like, look, I know a lot about mobility. I can do it from a theoretical perspective and my experience, but I have really good friends who are better at it than I am. So I'll get them on. And I'll have them do it. And it kept snowballing, essentially, where I never sat down like most people would tell you they do in business, especially for app development, which is very, very exorbitantly expensive. They would say, sit down, have a business plan. Like a lot of apps that are at our scale now of Gambaroo, they would have probably like, I know one big competitor, they had a startup venture capitalist firm put in 21 mil US into their initial seed. Like that's what my businesses need.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have that force. So here's how we're going to run the thing. Here's how we're going to do it. You need all this money to strategically hire these people and create this team and do that thing. For me, it was just like, I'll just sort of make it up as I go. I'll just bootstrap it. But it just kept growing to the point of like, okay, what has to happen next? Now, if I want to bring some mobility person in, they don't track sets and reps. They need timers. They need duration. They need a very different model of the platform. So it became a lot of conversations around how do I design this platform, how to develop this thing, what software do I, what kind of team do I need, what kind of designers do I need to bring on? And it kept growing, and it really just became something where I got forced into a tech founder role as opposed to a coaching role, which I loved. Well, I loved the coaching role more than a tech founding role. But I really had to ask myself at one point, and this is maybe 3-ish, 4 years ago, when we had our big change where we opened from just being me to being a team of like all the different coaches and collaborators. I asked myself, what is my real skill set? Or what skill sets and what advantages do I have that I'm not leveraging? Up until that point, I've been leveraging my name. I've been leveraging my reputation, my education, my brain, and my skills. And I was like, my best asset that I'm not leveraging is the friends that I have, the connections, and my reputation professionally to be able to ask people like, hey, like I like what you're doing, you like what I'm doing, and you're an expert in mobility, powerlifting, sprint training, whatever, come on board, come do this. And the other advantage I have now is I actually have several years investing in this platform that can support what you want to do. I couldn't do that a few years ago. So that became my thing where I was like, okay, this is really good alignment because now I can focus on building more of these connections and hanging out with good people that I love doing. Like I'm always going to hang out and trying to learn from people with fitness. It's what I've done since I was a kid, But now I get to do it and I get to offer them a piece of the pie. I get to offer them a platform. I get to expose them to my audience and help them grow and just get to just spend time and do those cool things. And they get to benefit. The audience on the app gets to benefit because they get prenatal programs now, they get that problem solved. But because of that evolution, the app itself has taken a completely different path to what any other fitness app has done. Not because we're so different and exceptional, but because like It's literally been Lego blocks built and changed and chopped out as we went. There wasn't a vision from the start of like, here's how we're going to change the game.
Yeah.
Do this, which is not right or wrong. It's just different. But when I look at a lot of other apps, there's always different things that they don't do. Like some apps will do training, not nutrition, or they'll do no programs, just be a workout builder, or vice versa. And we kind of do it all, which is what nobody would ever tell you to do. So it's a mistake. You don't do it all. Because it's hard to then talk about it as much. It's like, hey, what do you do? Oh, we do everything.
Yeah. What does the app entail?
Everything.
Everything. I actually signed up to the Gambaro method probably like 5 or 6 years
Oh,
ago.
shit, you did too. I forgot.
did.
Yeah, you did too.
But I didn't
Holy
use
shit.
anything.
Right. It's
And
so
I
different
came
now.
to realise-
it's completely different now.
I'm just someone that loves like one-to-one coaching.
Of
So
course.
there's always something
Of
for
course.
everyone. You know, there's apps out there for people that love apps, and there's things out there like coaching, online coaching, one-to-one coaching, in-person coaching. It really is. There's so many great things out there now, which I think is important to name.
It is.
But yeah, I signed
It
up
is.
to it, and I can't remember what the catalyst was at the time, but I remember being like, I want to learn that.
Yeah, I remember you messaged me. I can't remember what it was, what context it was. I remember you messaged saying, I just signed up. I was like, oh, that's cool. I can't remember what you were going to do with it or what pulled you into it. But yeah, it's changed so much since then. It's just a completely different beast now. But that's a very important thing, I think, from like business, trying to understand like what corner of the market are you trying to corner, or like what are you serving? And like looking back now, I would actually remove some of the aspects in the app that we actually have built now. I won't do it now because like we spent a lot of money and time on it and it works. But in hindsight, I'd be like, you know what? Don't go down that route. You don't need to build that thing because it's serving something that's not aligned with what this product is meant to serve. Where like, you know, we don't do one-on-one coaching. That shouldn't be, that's not our thing. So don't build systems that allow for that because that's not what we're trying to do. And if we did, we'd have to charge a very different price point, but it's still just not something that we can deliver.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't try to go down that route. But it's where having a vision does help.
Yeah, of course. Now I'm going to pivot just a little bit, and this will be like the final little piece of the episode, which I'm very excited to ask you about. Now, you have become a dad in the last 2 years. You have little Meadow and you have a beautiful partner, Katrina. And I would love to know how has that changed for you? How has having a family changed you from when you were on your own and kind of just being the businessman, and we talked about freedom and just doing whatever I wanted and, you know, doing the seminars and kind of having no responsibility other than ourselves. Now you have many responsibilities. And I would love to know, like, how has that kind of shifted how you are now? And as you name, like, stop chasing things, has that been a big catalyst for the stop chasing, or is that something else?
I think like one thing since having having kids, having a daughter, is the obvious one is you realize how little time you have because your time gets eaten up by a lot of other things of just being a dad or being a parent, being a caregiver. But also the rate at which they develop, that makes you really connect with just how quickly time goes. And it gives you urgency of like, holy shit, I blinked and now she's walking and now she's talking and now her face is changing. Now she's her own person. And I took that for granted when we first had her. Within the first month of us having her, I was in Hawaii on a business trip on work. I was creating stuff for Gambaro. I was doing content. And got back the week after, I was in Sunshine Coast doing more content. And I was in work mode. And it wasn't until I looked and I realized I just missed so much. And she won't remember it, but I will. And that's haunting. But it really made me sit back and think, made me recognize how quickly time goes by and how little time we really have, which means you need to be much more strategic about where you devote your time and how you devote that time into the right tasks to gain back more of it. Because I'm a workhorse, you know, I'm like many people probably listen to this, you're happy to just work and do the thing. But that's usually not what the task requires. It's not what your goal requires. I think the biggest lie we've been told is that you've got to work harder and get more reps in. It's like, no, you've got to get better at spending time deciding what reps are worth your time and how to go about executing them properly. It's, I love the old analogy of if you want to like chop a bunch of wood, you just spend the first amount of time sharpening your axe. Like take that time to really think about what do you need to do and how are you going to execute it with the most volition and focus to get the most out of it. Not just to be productive, but so you can have that time because you realize, shit, it's fleeting. It's really fleeting and I want to spend as much as I can, not just the quantity of time, but actually be present. Because I know I can tell you I spend so much time with my family and I'm not there mentally. I'm just not. Not because I got a work thing, but because I haven't been able to switch off. I haven't been able to have disconnect. So I've got to practice that skill. Like it's taught me so much of just what I have been lacking, which is exciting because I'm like, I know I suck at this and it's cool. It's a cool place to be because like I'm going to make some newbie gains. I'm going to be unfamiliar for a while. I get to have new challenges, new conversations and just sort of grow into a different person that I don't know what that is. It's why people ask me a lot, hey, what are you doing now? I'm like, I'm actually not sure. I'm in a big experimentation phase because I don't want to block myself out from being able to try new things because this dad role, even just this partner role, is one that's still quite new to me. And I'm sort of getting used to of like, what do I actually want that to look like? So it really forces me to, sit back and really try to connect with that thing of like, fuck, what kind of life do I want to live and create for my family now, not just me, which is I guess the other part, which is just how much your perspective changes from, as you said, focusing on what you do and just have your freedom. Say, how can I give more people freedom? How can I give my partner? How can I give my daughter? How can I just grow into something where we can all flourish? It's a very different conversation.
Katrina, your partner, I want to know what are the qualities that you admire about her?
I'll tell you, like I touched on it before, she does have this unique taste, this unique way of seeing the world. Like I said it in a content perspective, but I mean it in every aspect of the way that she looks at design, the way that she looks at a setting like this, the way that she'll try to figure something out, problem solve, right? I call it her scrappiness. She's very scrappy. She'll figure things out, but she won't just figure things out by just like doing the thing, reading the manual. She'll figure something out that is just so out of this world, creative and unusual. Like, where did that come from? Like I talk about pattern recognition, right? She creates new patterns and you're like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? It's a whole different form of improvisation. For example, for people watching this on video instead, I remember, and this is a pretty tame example. We were out for a picnic with some friends, Dean and Lizzie. This is several years ago when I first met Katrina. And it was getting dark, so we needed some light. So, of course, like you would do, you get your phone out and you flick on the flashlight, right? That creates some light. What she did, she put the phone down, grabbed the drink bottle with water, put it on top.
Yeah.
It's a lantern now. Now, it's so simple. It's such a simple, and of course, there's a concept there. It's a lantern. Lanterns create more light than a single little flame does because the light diffuses more. But seeing something so insignificantly small like that most of us take for granted, I was like, holy shit, you are really thinking about this differently. You see the world in a very different way. And that's what it is. It's just this mind. It's creativity. Where maybe she saw that somewhere else or something. But it's like the fact that you can pull that. I've seen so many things on Instagram or TikTok, cool ideas, nifty things to do. I'll forget about them. But she has this knack for just remembering or creating this stuff out of thin air. And it's like, that's cool. She does not give herself credit for that, for that kind of thing. She thinks, oh, that's not going to make money. So it's not about money. It's more about your ability to see the world in that way, to see common problems and how to solve them in such a unique, abstract way. And it's just so exciting. It's this childlike wonder of improv, experimentation. I'm just like, I'll figure it out and I won't have a manual to find the way. And that's a long-term partner, right? That's someone you can grow old with because you know life's always going to be exciting.
How do you two connect? Or how do you guys, what do you use for connection? Because you're so busy and she's out there like being a mom and doing all the things. And
right now,
I would love to know what you guys do to drive connection.
The last couple of years, nothing. You know, weak spot, blind spot for both of us is that we don't work on it. We don't put enough time into it. We have excuses. We have reasons why, you know, having a daughter, moving, having crazy business as well. A lot of reasons why I haven't been able to connect as well. But I'll tell you straight up, that's just not been, I don't want to say it hasn't been a priority because it's been on both of our minds. And we'll touch base and be like, yeah, this is not working or this is just not feeling right. Like we're just not happy. So it has been there as a priority in some ways. But I guess it's the same thing that I say to you with podcasting. We even had this conversation. I've had the conversation of what does the world's best relationship do? What do the world's best partners do? You know? And then do the thing. The next cool thing will be like, yeah, sure. Like I know like a lot of relationship experts will say, oh, make sure that you carve out a day when you have kids where you're dating. You're having a date day or whatever. Or make sure you have carved out time solo, doing your own thing. So you can connect again and tell stories to each other and connect on new exciting things. Have your own separate friends or whatever. You know, don't just become this entity of relationship that's codependent or that has all around Meadow as our daughter. You know, he's got to have new things. One thing, of course, is recognizing those things. But the next thing is how do you engineer your life in a way that forces those things to happen with no friction?
It's a conversation you and I had, but yeah.
That's the tricky thing. And that's something it is a unique thing for every single person and depends if it's a relationship or if it's your business or if it's your workouts. How do you create less friction so the only obvious answer to you is the correct behavior? Because unfortunately, when you leave the outcome up to humans doing the correct thing, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because we're all human and we're all not going to do the correct thing 9 times out of 10. So you got to make sure that you set things up so you can't fuck it up. We're not there yet. But that's definitely something that we are, you know, mindful of. Me and Katrina was like, yeah, that it's a big deficit.
Maybe
we have
this
the
conversation
excuses.
can be a little catalyst for
Maybe.
a little get together.
Yeah.
Start to, as you said, like, you know, I think sometimes we think it has to be something so big. But actually,
It's
like
not.
with connection, it's something so small.
It's little things.
It's the little things.
It's the tiniest things. It's taking the breath before you respond because you feel the heat building up. No, just be patient, breathe. Or it's attending to the bids for attention. It's being curious, but verbalizing the curiosity. Because I'm curious about a lot of shit that she does, but I won't verbalize it. I'll be like, that's cool, but I'll just go do my thing now.
What's your love language?
I feel like I should have a good answer for it, but I don't. Not gifts. Quality time. Although I say quality time, but I can spend a great deal of time away from people and still feel connected to them. Right? Like, I haven't seen you for a long time. I still I love spending time with Hattie. I know that. I still feel connected to you in some way. Same with a lot of my friends. What are the other love languages? Words of affirmation? Big one.
Big one. Is that how you like to love others or how you like to be loved?
How I like to be loved. Yeah. I default to gift giving. I like giving gifts to people.
Okay.
I enjoy that. Not for like, oh, it's your birthday, I'm going to go buy you a gift. But I love being out and being like, oh, wow, this thing, it's perfect for you. I want to go buy it now. And I'll get that for you or whatever. Not everything's about buying things, but it's about like, this is for you. I know this is something else thought of you. But for me personally, I know what drives me the more than anything else is words of affirmation. Look at my social media. Okay. Like the reason why I'm so good at social media is because I put a lot of stock into the words of affirmation I get from my audience. That fulfills me the most, and I'm addicted to that. So I drive for that. And then it just so happens that by doing that, you optimize for a social media following. You know, that's where I seek it.
And it still shows up in intimate relationships, friendships, partnerships.
Yeah, for sure. Like I always feel the best when I come out of like, you know, a coffee, hang out with a friend or whatever. If there was some kind of word of affirmation, I'm like, yeah, I feel good about that. That was a great conversation. That was great. It was awesome. It was nice. Cool. I appreciate that. It's nice that they got me a gift, but I'm like, oh, it's neither here nor there. You know?
But yet that's the thing that you enjoy giving to others. I always love thinking about these things.
What's yours?
I am words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And it's not I love you. It's I love deep conversations. I love getting to know someone. If you share something deep with me, I'm like, the trust. You trust me. Oh, God, that feels like love. And in reverse, when I have, partners, families, friends hold me to a high standard. Hey, I just want to let you know, like this, when you did this, it made me feel like this. Or, whatever it is, I'll be like, this is love.
Right.
You love me enough to hold me to a standard that is important to you. And maybe I dropped the ball on this. Maybe I was busy. I didn't think about this. Let's repair. It's all good. No, I just wanted to let you know. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And then we repair. That to me, like, that is love to the core. Authentic. I'm going to hold you to the standard. I'm going to let you know how I feel. I'm going to share with you my needs. And that's what I would encourage you to do the same. That's words of affirmation for me. Deep connection, hard conversations, but also beautiful, joyous conversations. Being able to share with someone how you truly feel about them is affirmation. So that's actually, I thought physical touch, because I am incredibly affectionate. I thought that was my highest, but it's actually not. That comes after words of affirmation. They would be my two highest. I pretty much love Coben in every love language except for gifts, because he has such expensive taste. But I will do everything for him. I will be affectionate. I will do words of affirmation. I write to him. I share it, tell him that I love him every day.
That's
love
beautiful.
telling him all the things that that he's impacted. I voice my needs, like quality time. We spend so much time together. But I'll also notice when it's been too much work and not enough intimate time. Gifts. But Coben loves. He's affection, and to me, it's like affection and gifts are probably the highest, and then it would be words of affirmation. So he doesn't always share with me how he feels, but when it does, it's just super impactful. Yeah, but he does it because he knows that like that's my thing. Letters and deep conversations. So he shares so well now because I essentially said to him in the car
You
when
forced
first
him.
we got it down. I said, this thing that we're doing, I could do that with anyone, but what I really want is, connection and it was beautiful. He led into that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Eugene, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I could actually ask you so many more so many more questions, but we have gone for a pretty long time, and we went in many different, we talked about relationship towards the end. We had our own relationship with self, the different changes that you've had between your identities, social media, what success is to you, how you perceive success. So many great nuggets in there. And I know anyone who's listening who may not know who you are, I know they're going to go check you out and get so much from you, whether it's from your YouTubes, what you share on social media, even the Gambaroo method. If you're someone that loves to explore different ways of training, go check the Gambaroo method out. But is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap up, Eugene, today?
Thank you for the time. I enjoyed this today. It was a lot of fun. And it's always cool to be able to sit down with you and just have some cool conversations.
It is. It's my favorite thing to do. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you loved it, enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, a big fat like, share it, connect with Eugene, connect with myself. And of course, remember, we have two hands, everyone, one for helping ourselves and one for helping others.
I like that outro. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Did you say it every time? The two hands? I like that.